Now, when it comes to banking with either a big bank or credit union, there are going to be pros and cons when it comes to both. One is going to make and save you money, while the other is trying to make money off of you. And picking the right one is going to be extremely crucial when it comes to your financial health, because if you don't pick the right one, then it's going to cost you. I've been banking with both credit unions and banks for quite a few years now and have plenty of experience between the two. So what I want to do in this video, ladies and gentlemen, is show you guys the key differences between both banks and credit unions and what you guys need to know about them. If you're already subscribed, then welcome back. But if you guys are new to my channel, my name is Ismael Sandiford and you are now watching Just Money, where we talk about financial related topics such as personal and business credit, real estate, and other financial related topics. So if that's something you're into, then you're probably going to want to consider subscribing. But without further ado, let's get to today's video. Now, when it comes to both credit unions and banks, ladies and gentlemen, both are going to let you do the key basics as far as opening up a checking and savings account, getting loans, credit cards, etc. But how they do business is going to be a little bit different. Banks typically make their money by charging you to have an account with them, giving you lower interest rates on your checking and savings accounts with them, which most of the time is actually a 0.01% APY, or they're just simply going to charge you higher interest rates on either your loans or credit cards with them. The reason why banks need to do this is because they need to generate profits for themselves and their investors that they have. So this is why there's always more fees and higher interest rates on your loans and credit cards when it comes to a bank. Now, don't get me wrong, you do get the big name and the fancy apps when it comes to a commercial bank like Chase or Wells Fargo, but are the higher interest rates and more fees really worth it? I, for one, personally don't think so. Now, as far as credit unions go, these financial institutions are not for profit and owned by their members, aka the people who bank with them, like me and you. When you guys start banking with a credit union, their profits are going to go back into the people who bank with them and either lower interest rates or just simply no fees on any of their products. You won't have to pay any monthly fees simply for just having a checking account, like how Chase charges you anywhere between $12 to $15 just to have a checking account with them. Credit unions such as Navy Federal will not charge you money every single month just to have a checking account, and they actually pay you more in interest depending on the money that you have in that particular checking account. Like, for example, if you guys have the free easy checking account with Navy Federal Credit Union that has no monthly fees, they're going to pay you a 0.05% APY based on the money you have in there. To whereas Chase Bank, on the other hand, they're only going to give you a 0.01% APY based on the money you have in that account. So it's not much more of a difference, but it's still a whole lot more than what a regular bank would offer you. And as far as credit cards go with credit unions, you'll never be charged nothing more than an 18% interest rate at the time of this recording because they have laws that regulate this. Big banks, on the other hand, like Chase, will charge you like a 28 or 29% interest rate on your credit cards, which is a whole lot more money you're going to have to pay back if you have a balance on your card. So again, big banks are looking to make money off of you and they're not even hiding it. Credit unions aren't really looking to maximize their profits off of you, and this is why whenever you guys apply for either a loan or credit card with a credit union, they don't solely base your approval on what your credit score is like how banks do. Credit unions tend to be more relationship based, so in other words, the better relationship you guys have with a credit union, then the more they're willing to do for you as a customer. You guys can have a low credit score, but if you guys have a decent credit profile and a decent relationship built up with the credit union, then you guys can have like a 600 credit score and still get approved for a new credit card at the credit union. To whereas banks, on the other hand, if you guys don't have the specific credit score requirement or the credit profile needed, then whatever it is you guys are trying to apply for, the approval laws aren't going to be high. But not gonna lie, one of the best things about banks is that they have physical branches everywhere, like all over the country. For the most part, you can always find like a Chase Bank or a Chase ATM in most cities, along with other commercial banks like Bank of America or even Wells Fargo. So if this is something that's important to you, you might want to bank with a bank and not a credit union. But another thing I do want to add though is that when it comes to banks, pretty much anybody out there can bank with a bank, but credit unions, on the other hand, they're typically going to have eligibility requirements to sign up with them. To bank with a credit union, you either have to live, work, worship, attend school, or be in a specific area to be banking with a credit union, or you're either in the military or some kind of organization, or maybe you just have a family member that already banks with a credit union. And the thing about credit unions is they love when you guys keep the bloodline going. This is why if you have a brother, sister, mom, dad, grandpa, or grandma that banks with a credit union already, it's going to be easy for you to get in because they always want to pass it down to the next generation bloodline. I will admit, they do make it hard to bank with a credit union, but once you guys actually start banking with that credit union, then it's going to be absolutely amazing from there. Like, the thing I personally love about credit unions is that they have good credit building products. Like, if you guys want to get a secure savings loan or a secure credit card so that way you guys can start building your credit, then you absolutely can. Chase Bank doesn't really have any credit building products. They kind of expect you to have a good credit score already walking in, which kind of sucks for the new person who wants to build their credit. Chase Bank doesn't have any secure credit cards. They don't have any secure savings loans like all of these other credit unions do. When it comes to building credit, ladies and gentlemen, you always want to have a revolving account and an installment account on your credit profile because 10% of where your credit score is made out of comes from your credit mix, which is again both revolving and installment accounts. So if you guys can get like a secured savings loan and a secure credit card, so that way you guys can start building your credit, that right there is going to help boost your credit, so that way you guys can actually get ahead in life. And also, if I haven't mentioned it yet, the customer service is not that good when it comes to a traditional bank like how it is with credit unions. Credit unions usually provide more personalized service since they're community focused and member owned, whereas banks, their service quality is going to vary based on efficiency and profit. And also really quick, if you guys are finding any of this information helpful, if you guys could do me a favor and hit the like button, I would truly appreciate it because it really helps me out a lot, and it's also a dope way to help support the channel. Now, as far as insurance goes on both banks and credit unions, they do provide insurance all the way up to $250,000, and that's going to go for both checking and savings accounts, CDs, and even money market accounts, but the federal agencies are going to be different. With traditional banks, they are going to be FDIC insured, and FDIC stands for Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, but with credit unions, on the other hand, they're going to be insured by the NCUA, which stands for National Credit Union Administration. So whichever financial institution you guys decide to go with, whether it's a credit union or bank, you're always going to have insurance on your money all the way up to $250,000. But lastly, one of my favorite things about credit unions, ladies and gentlemen, is that there's just so many out there that you guys can choose from, and whenever you guys apply for something with one of them, they tend to pull your credit from specific credit bureaus. Like for example, if you guys bank with Navy Federal and you guys are applying for any of their personal credit cards with them, they're going to be pulling from your TransUnion credit report. But then if you bank with another credit union like NASA Federal Credit Union, they're going to pull from your Experian credit report. So with this information, you guys can get credit cards with Navy Federal and NASA Federal Credit Union at the same time because they pull from different credit bureaus, and what this allows you to do is get more funding. If a lender only pulls from Experian, then they can't see what TransUnion is doing. But if they only pull from TransUnion, then they can't see what Experian is doing. So if you guys are with different credit unions, you guys can literally take advantage of this and get ahead in life. Because for those out there that don't know, credit unions already give you higher credit limits and higher loan amounts than traditional banks do. Because at the end of the day, credit unions are way more generous than what traditional banks are. I would actually recommend to build your personal credit profile with a credit union before doing anything else, because by doing this is going to help you build a solid credit profile, so that way you guys can actually navigate through life, so that way you can get ahead. Honestly, what I would recommend to do is to just have a mixture of both credit unions and banks, and even online banks like how I have, because you just never know what's going to happen with a bank or credit union one day. But that's going to wrap it up for today's video, guys. Hope you guys found value in any of this information as always. If you guys have bad credit because maybe you have derogatory items on your credit report like late payments, charge-off, collections, or even past bankruptcies, and you've been working with somebody who couldn't get that off for you, send an email to one of my business emails, 850boulevard@gmail.com, because I have an amazing credit repair person that I personally work with that can definitely help a lot of you guys out there. And also really quick, if you guys are looking to get funding for your business, like anywhere between $50,000 to $150,000 plus in capital, so that way you guys can actually scale and grow your business, send an email to my business email saying funding, and I'll speak with you guys there. But if you guys made it to the end of the video, then I truly do appreciate you guys. We're at 86,000 subscribers at the time of this recording, so I do appreciate all who watch. I do post weekly videos for those that don't know, but if you guys haven't yet already, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't yet already, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that way you guys get notified every time I post a new video. And again, we talk about personal and business credit, real estate, and other financial related topics, so if that's something you're into, then you're probably going to want to consider subscribing. We talk about how to get high limits on your credit cards, how to boost your personal credit, how to obtain business credit. We talk about real estate, we talk about mortgage loan programs, we talk about all of that. So this is your one-stop shop. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.